teammates, how important is it to you guys to get this win for him?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is getting a win, right? And any extra motivation, that you can add, so to speak, fuel to the fire is great. Obviously it's going to mean a lot, to Russ going back to where he's won so many games and looking forward to adding one more, but on our end.
Justin, what kind of honor was it to be named one of the 5-team captains?
Is the biggest honor. I think anytime your peers, you're out here and you're playing and, you get elected as captain because it was team voted. It means a lot, for Chubb and I on the defensive side of the ball. And obviously we know there are guys all over the board that could be captains on defense, right? Kareem, Mike, Josie. I think there's so many guys that are deserving of that. And just because the title isn't there doesn't mean that we don't have multiple guys on the defensive side of the ball that can't lead like that. So it's a tremendous honor.
For you guys as a secondary, what type of challenge does DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett provide for guys that can stretch you vertically and also across the field? How does that put a little bit of pressure on the defense?
Oh, yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. Obviously, Seattle runs the ball really well, so that's what helps set up, their play-action pass. So we got to be able to stop the run. And DK and Lockett, they're the best at, running those two-man routes, maybe outside of or on par with Thielen and Justin Jefferson. But they do such a good job, man, of just finding ways to get open, right? And we've seen that for so many years. And everyone knows going in there, got to eliminate the big plays with DK and Lockett. And in some way, somehow, they always find a way to squeeze a shot in. And so that's going to be a challenge for us in the secondary. A lot of communication. I talk about that week in and week out. And, it's going to be on full display on Monday night for us in order to execute.
What do you see from Geno Smith?
Geno's a great quarterback. When he drops back, man, a lot of the times he knows exactly what he's getting. And like I said, when you have a good running game, which Seattle has, it makes your timing passes that much more important. And so for him, when he's back there, he's got that mental clock. And DK and Lockett do such a good job of getting open. Now, obviously, adding a wrinkle in with Noah, known him for a long time, great tight end in this league, and so he adds an extra layer for their pass game. And it's just going to be a challenge for us in the back end. And obviously, Geno's a great quarterback. He's been in the league for a long time, knows what he's doing, knows what he's looking at, and it's going to be fun to get after it.
With Russ being their quarterback for the past 10 years and building their offense with him in mind, him no longer being there, does it make it difficult for you guys to know what to game plan for?
I wouldn't necessarily say it makes it difficult. It's just different. Obviously, when you're preparing for, like a guy like Russ, there's obviously those first few seconds of a play, but a lot of times, man, what makes quarterbacks like Russ so special is the fact of the next 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds of the play, right, where everything's prolonged. He's making something out of nothing. I think that's the toughest part, to really game plan for. And obviously Geno has a little bit of that, obviously not to the same extent, but the fact that, he can extend plays with his legs. He's a great runner. He can run the after, if things break down, he can run if he needs to. He can throw guys open. And so, like I said, for us as a defense, and especially in the secondary, when we got to plaster, those second efforts, second, third efforts, that's going to be a challenge for us to be able to do that.
A year ago, in the last season, you'd come up game after game and basically said, can't talk about it, can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you relish a new season and the chance to be it rather than talk about it?
Yeah, I think that's my favorite thing about the league. Week in and week out, win or lose, it doesn't really matter. Whatever happens, a win Monday night, that has nothing to do with when we're getting prepared to play the next week. Maybe there's momentum that carries on with the win, but it has nothing to do with it. That game's over. We're on to the next week. Same thing with the season. Like accolades, whatever you did good, whatever you did bad, that's behind. That has nothing to do with what you're doing in 2022. And like I said, you can focus on some things, right? I talked about defensively how there are some games I felt we left on the table in last year, and that's a focus point, but that's behind us. We just learn, we get better. So that's the biggest thing. That's probably one of my favorite things about the league. What you did the week prior is great, but ball that up, throw it away. It's on to the next week.
Justin, what kind of conversations do you have with Russ about maybe just their personnel the guys that he's played with in terms of getting a little bit of insight there?
Yeah, no, of course. You always have that type of conversation. I mean, Kareem and I have been picking his brain, the past few days just about it. We had a lift this morning. We were kind of picking his brain just about his thoughts, personnel, what to look for, this, that, and the other. As I'm sure, Seattle's doing kind of with Noah and Shelby and Drew and things like that. So, you have that type of insight. It would be foolish not to use it.
Justin, as his teammate and just as a football guy, what kind of reception do you think Russ deserves from that crowd?
I mean, me personally, anytime someone has spent as long as a career as they have in Seattle, anywhere, but specifically Russ in Seattle, and being the Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl there, I would imagine that it would be a welcoming environment. That may not be the case, whatever the case may be. But my opinion is I would hope it'd be welcoming for him. But you never know with those types of things.
Nate said a few minutes ago that Jonas would be a full participant today. Just as you've seen him before he got hurt over the course of camp and the preseason, where has he taken his game? Where has he elevated it? And what does he bring to your team?
Yeah, honestly, the biggest thing with Jonas has just been that confidence, right? I think like last year, saw how well he played and saw how well he did. And, a lot of that, it's like on the fly, still learning, still figuring out, how he works with Kareem and I and and the other corners and, other linebackers he's in there with. I mean, we had a pretty good rotation. But now seeing him, kind of like established, comfortable, you're just seeing the confidence grow. I think that's the biggest thing, in every aspect of that. So run pass recognition, drops, fitting his gap, being able to fall off and make plays. I mean, all that's growing, but I think all that is growing because of the confidence of just consistently being in there and getting those reps and being comfortable playing with the guys that he's playing with. And that's been the biggest thing that I've seen, with OTAs and camp. And, I'm excited for him. I'm excited that he's back and he makes our defense that much better. So I'm pumped to be able to play with him on Monday.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Justin.
Thank you.